From all the excitement of making regional forms and evolutions in the past few weeks, I have been thinking once more about convergent forms. I am just deeply fascinated with them. They're a really clever idea, and whilst I have a sneaking suspicion that Pokemon have introduced them as a way to potentially phase out regional variants, I still really want to see which other Pokemon they could adapt into different species. I have brought to the table 3 more Pokemon to convergent formalize. Not a real term, but look, I'm not a wordsmith, I'm just the guy that makes silly drawings. So let's draw. I want to draw Pokemon that I think have kind of fallen off, but like not in a shady way, just in the sense that I think people have stopped thinking about them as much. The first one is Drowsy. I did a little bit of research this time on real-world convergent species, or species that I just think resemble one another without being otherwise related. Drowsy is based on a tapir, which sometimes draws some similarities to a pig. At least that's what Wikipedia says. I used Oinkologne as a reference since it's the most natural looking pig Pokemon that we have to date. I don't want to directly rip it off, but its body shape will be quite similar. The front legs end in feet, which resemble Drowsy's hands, and the back will resemble its feet. Drowsy's feet. Although I'm making sure the body and its posture do give off quadrupedal vibes, and not just Drowsy got pushed over and received too much psychic damage to stand up and brush itself off vibes. It keeps Drowsy's signature smile and has the same eyes, but the snout is more defined as being that of a pig's, which makes sense. I want the body markings to be interpreted as mud. I've also given it more than one separation. The ears are now larger and flop down, and I've given it a curly little tail. I tried a different composition with the face because I thought the forehead was a little too large, but then it made it look way too similar to Drowsy. Perhaps with some color it could look different enough, but I don't want to risk crossing the line from convergent into regional form. The colors are various shades of pink, ditching the yellow. The mud was originally pink too, but I decided it would make much more sense being brown since it's not really supposed to be part of its biology. Nextly, we have Kamala. I've given Kamala some love in the past in such hits like 2024's evolving Pokemon that really deserve it. When I was looking online, I saw some people drawing similarities between the koala and the injury, which is more of a lemur. A koala is a marsupial, whereas an injury is a primate, so I think they're different enough to be convergent in the world of pocket monsters. Where Kamala sleeps, its convergent form sings. I want this to be the anti-Kamala. Injury are known to sing, often as a mating call or just group activity, so I think it's the perfect basis for this Pokemon. I started off giving it the similar details I want to keep from Kamala. Its eyes are not going to be closed since it isn't in a state of perpetual sleep. This actually kind of forced me to imagine what Kamala's eyes would look like wide open, and I'm sure there's a reference picture out there, but I didn't think to search it at the time, so I just made it up. Its body is not really all that longer, but it does appear as such just by virtue of it standing up. I've also not given it fur all the way down to its feet. Maybe a little creepy, but I stand by it. It again reinforces that this is not Kamala. Convergents are hard to make, guys, what can I say? For the wood that it carries, I have it in the shape of a microphone. I have a lore that it will be hollow and able to amplify its voice across the entire forest. Color-wise, it will very much closely resemble the injury. It's got a dark coat with a light gray and white accents. The wooden microphone is just the same color as the log that Kamala holds. I think it's fine as is. We have now reached probably the most weird Pokemon that I've made to date. This is how Baneri became a kangaroo. I'm not kidding. It is also the Pokemon that I used to clickbait you into watching this video. Subscribe if you like it. One of my dear friends is deeply in love with Baneri and Lopunny, and so whether or not this design and idea is good hinges entirely on if they like it or not. That's just how it works. At first I went for more angled ears. I still want one of them to be floppy because that's a signature part of Baneri's line. I think it's the one thing I can bring across aside from general visual similarities. This little guy is going to be be a joey, which is a baby kangaroo, and I think it's actually the name that you give to a baby marsupial regardless of species, or maybe it's just kangaroos and wallabies and wombats or something. I don't know. Someone tell me in the comments. I imagine when it's evolved, it will probably keep the fluffy fur around its waist, which will be fashioned as a pouch. This first sketch is fine, but truly nothing special. I actually want it to be bouncing rather than standing still. Sketch number 2 is what I'm talking about. The second attempt at the ears went better. I took Baneri's ear shape with the one lopsided ear included, but I didn't give it fluffy ears. The colors are of the same range, but just different tones and shades, and the eyes are now bright blue. When I was a kid, I went to Australia with my dad, and I got a souvenir kangaroo plush, which I called Bluey. So that's what drove that decision. Now that we have our convergence all drawn, I think it's time to take a look at the final artwork. First up, we have Swiney, the Mudroll Pokemon, and a ground normal type. It has the abilities Earth Eater and Normalize. It is the convergent form of Drowsy. Swiney gets most of its energy from mud. It will dip its nose into a muddy puddle and inhale it to eat. Whenever you see muddy footprints, you can guarantee that Swiney is nearby. Nextly, it's Indrala, the singing Pokemon, and a normal type. It has the new ability Talkative, which prevents any Pokemon from falling asleep. It is the convergent form of Kamala. When they want to get the attention of a potential mate, Indrala will sing a mating song. They have the ability to carve any block of wood into a microphone that amplifies the sound of their voice. And finally, say g'day to Joeri, the kangaroo Pokemon, and a fighting type. Also, you can just tell I'm not Australian by my forced g'day. I never say that. I don't know how to say it right. It has the abilities Limber and Tangled Feet. It is the convergent form of Baneri. Joeri often have competitions amongst themselves where they try and jump the highest. Because of their competitive instincts, only the highest jumping Joeri evolve into Loparoo. It's a little hint for something in the future maybe. That's a wrap on Convergence 2. Would you like to see Convergence 3? Why am I just spitting rhymes right now? If you would like to see a follow-up, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every single fakemon Friday or Saturday if you live in Mirage Island, just like me. And of course, a massive shout out to our channel members. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate it so much. Now, remind me again, who's Sheila and who's Joeri?